Okay, good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to our training. Today, we are going to look at how to make our own brushes and so. So, I have not uploaded anything in our classroom, but what you can do is you can always look into Mr. Google here and look for some brushes. I'm going to just type in here tree. Yeah, so tree and so on. Yeah, so any type of tree, please take shapes as such. Yeah, I'm just going to hit on the images. You guys can pick any single trees. Yeah, it can be a tree, it can be any sort of patterns that you can work with. Right, so what you're going to do is now is you are going to create a new document. Yeah, hit new. You can look for A4 if you want to. Yeah, A4, that should be fine. Name it as brushes. And okay, I'm going to hit on brushes, so it doesn't matter what kind of size it is. I'm just going to show you guys what you can do with the brushes. All right, so in Photoshop, as we know how to scale things, know how to place your images and so, and we have also looked into how to play with the vanishing point and so. All right, so now if you were to create any sort of an art, yeah, in a blank page as such, normally in the previous session you will go with the lasso tool and start drawing as such, make a selection, and then you can choose any sort of colors. Yeah, and you can fill in by hitting shift and backspace. Yeah, so this will make sure it is on foreground color. Yeah, so foreground means this is a foreground, this is a background on the toolbar here. Okay, so you'll see two colors here, foreground color, which the color that we chose, which is this. Yeah, and hit OK, and now you get the whole selection being filled with colors. Right, so what can you do with the brushes? A brush is practically to help you to color things. Yeah, so in order for you to see the radical or the size of the brush, all you have to do is tap on your keyboard, open bracket and close bracket. This is a close bracket, this is the open bracket. Yeah, right, make sure the opacity is 100%. And now if you were to see bigger size of a brush, all you have to do is open and then close bracket to the shortcut for this to be the brush size to be seen on the canvas. Right, so in here you can pick any colors apart from the base color that you have already picked. You can choose a lighter color and start painting on it. Right, as you can see, this is practically what it does is it is just painting directly on top of it without blending it. Yeah, this is the common function of a brush. Yeah, you can paint a color. Right, before we paint or we do the mixture, we've got options of a brush. If you come up to the shelf here, the second shelf, you will see, if you drop down the menu here, after you see this 500 or probably a single dot here with a number, yeah, beside the brush icon, that indicates the size of the brush. If you drop down the brush option, you've got multiple options here. Of course, when it says with pressure, that means if you are using a tablet, then of course it will have its pressure depending how much are you pressing on the tablet. Yeah, for in our case we are just going to use simple round brushes. You guys can try any sort of brushes here. Yeah, it will give you different effect. Right, all these are round general brushes. This is what it does. So if it's hard and round, it is going to give you a solid round or solid color. Yeah, whereas if you are using the soft round brush, it is going to give you a nice bleed. Yeah, it is going to have a softened edge. Yeah, like that, like so. Yeah, so it kind of like it blasts and it kind of like disperse in a very soft manner rather than very solid strokes. Okay, I'm using a mouse here. I'm just showing you this is what it will happen. Yeah, if you're going to paint. So you've got other options in the brush. You can also look at different types of brushes. If you drop down, by default you will have uh, general brush, and if you don't see any of this special effect brushes and so, that's because I have different sorts sets of brush. Yeah, I will share later on, but that would be too extensive for you guys. So if you want to have more brushes, all you have to do is anytime that you see the gear icon on any given window, that means there is settings. So you just have to tap on it, and then you can import brushes or append different brushes, default brushes, or export selected brushes as your own. Okay, so we'll come back to this later on if you were to dive deep into how to create brushes and so yeah, you've got by default you've got the general brushes. If you need more, you can import brushes from a designated file that you have saved your brush sets. Okay, so that's a little bit of a brush. Okay, in your brush you've got options. Yeah, you've got blending options where you have the multiply. So if you hit multiply and you choose any darker color, yeah, any darker color, what it does is it will make the color, it will blend with the colors that is existing on the canvas. Yeah, you just have to blend it so it will become darker. It will make the whole place dark. Right, all sections that you're bringing the stroke or that you're applying your stroke will be darker. Right, so that is what multiply does. And you've got other component like overlay. You can overlay, you can try different colors. Yeah, you can overlay as such to make the blending and so. Okay, so these are blending options. Normally I would not advise you to do this. The reason being is if you're doing this, this is a destructive manner of work. All right, so this, though it gives you a good blending option, it will sorry, it will directly paint on the pixels that there is on the canvas, right? So best is if you want to work as a non-destructive manner where you can control your strokes or your color blendings and so, you are advised to create a brand new layer and then use the layer to paint, apply the different paint and the blending options right here. Make sense? So in this manner, it is much more easier, much more controlled. Anytime you can off it and it will retain your painting. Okay, so that is number one. Number two, you've got the opacity. Opacity means the 100% means it is super solid. So I'm going to go back to my hard round. So this is 100%, and if you hit on the slider here, yeah, drop down menu, and you'll see a slider here. If you drag the slider downwards and upwards, it will do a decrement and it will also do an increment on the level of opacity. Yeah, if let's say you want to have about 30% of opacity, that means it will kind of be like a transparent um, stroke, right? So you can paint over and over and over that, and then it will blend in between, right? That is what opacity does, right? So I'm going to undo this again so you guys can see this. So opacity is to make it more lighter and slowly build upon the color. Right? You will see this coming even better after we see how it works. Right? So normally I will work with 100%, and if I were to blend, I will just see the number on the keyboard 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 up to 0. Yeah, 1 is 10%, 0 is 100%, and 22 is 20, 3 is 30, 4 is 40, 5 is 60, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it goes by how many percent of opacity that you want by hitting on the numbers on your keyboard. Okay, so that is opacity. So that those are shortcuts. All right, next to the opacity, you've got another icon here which will be in checkers and a little bit of a pen and a circle. That means it is transfer. A transfer means it is going to blend, so it is going to use the pressure of the opacity. If you hover through the icon, you can see the description is then shown to you. All right, so if you check this, when you paint, you will see it won't affect much. The reason being is you're not using a tablet. All right, so in the future, if you're using tablet, perhaps you can on this. Right, so for now you can ignore this, but just for your information, this is called transfer. So it will use the pressure that you're applying on your pen by using the tablet, drawing tablet. Then you can use this function. Right, next is the flow. Depending on how much of flow that you want, as you can see, the flow is kind of like it gives you a little delay or decay as you paint. The lesser the flow is, it is not going to have a solid stroke. It is going to give you a kind of like a ghostly effect. Okay, so that's what flow is all about. Right, for now I will just hit on 100%. Right, apart from all this is the symmetry option. Just ignore the smoothing, leave it as 10%. Do not need to look at smoothing at the moment. Yeah, so next is, if you're looking at symmetry, we'll come back to this afterwards. Yeah, after this showcase of what it can do, then we'll come back to symmetry. Yeah, so for now symmetry will be ignored. Right, so let's look at how do you want to paint. Okay, first and foremost, if you have anything in mind, for instance, yeah, whether it's going to be a photo that you're trying to edit or even a painting that you're planning to do with Photoshop, what you can do is just do a shape. Yeah, shape building is very, very important. I'm going to choose the layer. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this layer as well. I'm going to start back brand new layer. I will always leave my background as white and locked. Yeah, I do not touch that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a lasso tool. You can either use a lasso tool, this is freehand, or you can use a polygonal lasso tool, depending. Yeah, so what you can do is, if let's say we are going to do a tree, say pop, 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 the shape of the tree, I just going to shape the tree leaves, yeah, as a whole, and then I'm just going to fill it up with shift by holding shift and backspace. Bam, maybe a blue color or whatever color that is suitable. Bam, done. So once you have this, I'm going to hit Control D just to deselect the selection. Yeah, and I'm going to add a brand new layer right on top. Okay, say my color, if I want to change this color, you can change this color later. Say you want to add a little color, so this is something bluish kind of tree, bush, or it's a tree, clump of leaves and so on. So you want to paint this, all you have to do is hold Control or Command, hit on this icon on the layer, tap once so that it will select the solid solid shape that is within the layer, and go to layer 2, and this is where you can pick any of this color. Say for instance you want to blend it with a little bit of green, and then choose any green color and go to your brush and start to paint over. Right, so once you paint over, now this is where you can play with your blending option. So So now all you have to do is come back here, use the overlay color or soft light color, or you can even multiply this and reduce the opacity. Remember, we are recalling back what we have done previously. Yeah, you can use the opacity to see how it blends, right? This is pretty straightforward and sharp. If you want it to be locked, for instance, this is kind of the selection lines or dotted lines here, it kind of like disturbing your view. All you have to do is hit a mask. Yeah, so it will automatically create a mask and then you can paint over. Okay, so this is where you can come in and you can paint straight directly like that if you want to have something sharp as such, or you can even go to your soft round brushes and you can start looking at different color and paint it and blend it slowly to give a little 3D effect. All right, so if you want it to be a little bit more lighter, perhaps you want to look at a lighter color, and you can slowly clear off the areas that you want to clear off, and this is what you get, right? Of course, the darker it is, the darker it becomes, and it will create this kind of shadowy effect that is going to make the shape or fill the shapes that you intend to have, right? So this is the basic functionality of a brush, right? So if you need more darker, you can increase the opacity. As you can see here, it will slowly kind of blend in. If you still want more, you want to blend it more and you think it is not so cool, so here you can go for black, yeah, on the mask, yeah, and you can increase your brush size and slowly with an opacity of 30%, and you can reveal the areas that needs to be revealed. Bam. So this is a little bit of how you can play with um, brushes. Okay, so very traditional method. We can utilize this by mixing and blending those brush colors and so on with the images that you're planning to create, whether it's going to be photo edit and so on. Okay, so that is the basic function of a brush. A brush can also be a unique shape brush. Okay, just treat this as say a stencil. Yeah, you know how you go to a shop, they have a stamp, so treat it something like that. So the tip, if you want it to be a little bit more cooler, so if you want to do some sort of a poster, what you can do is you can get into um, Google. Yeah, look for instance, if you are not going to go for a complicated tree, just hit pine tree. Look for pine tree, tap on it once, yeah, and look for a pine tree. Yeah, depending how realistic you want it to be or how cartoony you want it to be. I'm just going to choose any pine tree here, but make sure it is single like so, then it's easier for you to choose the trees. So I'm just going to hit on this free pick. Yeah, I can maybe a bit more clean. Let's say we look at this. Okay, I'm going to copy this image. Yeah, I'm going to try to paste it in our chat. Bam. I can't paste the image. Anyways, if I can't paste this, I will share this later. Yeah, so find something similar to what I'm looking at, or if you want, you can find something even more cooler as such. Don't take with the watermarks here. If you want to find with pine tree silhouettes, okay, look for pine tree silhouettes, PNG perhaps. Yeah, just tap once, look for a pine tree silhouette like so. Yeah, just tap on any of this, right click, copy image, yeah, and paste it here. Bam. Oh, it's not happening. Copy, paste. Oh, it is not pasting. Let's look at some other images then. Bam, give me a moment. That was nice. Okay, something like this, for instance. Yeah. So right click, copy. You can save it. Yeah. I'm gonna come in here on a new layer. Just copy and paste it here. All right. What do I have now is a silhouette. A silhouette is practically a black and white, the shape. Okay. So you can create your own brushes. If you were to make this as your stamp or your tip of your brush, all you have to do is next go to your selection magic wand, or you can do a quick selection tool, or object selection, or you can use any of the selection here. I'm just going to use quick selection. I'm going to just tap once on the black areas so it chooses the the shape, and all you have to do is go to edit, define brush preset, and name it as pine tree. Bam. Right. See, automatically it will change your brush tip to a pine tree shape. Okay, this may not be the best pine tree, but just for our practice purpose, right? Understand the functionality first. I'm going to hide this layer. I'm going to deselect. Control D is deselect. I'm going to create a brand new layer. Now I'm going to just zoom out a little bit by holding Alt and then scrolling my mouse outwards. Yeah. Now I've got a pine tree here, and I'm going to pick some sort of a greenish color, right? And now you can take your brush with a 30% opacity, and I'm just going to paint over as such. So now we will create a nice forest. Ta-da! Okay. Maybe if you want to increase the opacity 30% or 60%, and then go for 80% when it comes closer, or a little bit more darker. Anything that is closer is darker. Yeah. Bam. Now we've got a nice tree, a jungle, a forest tree. Anything that is far, maybe a little bit of blue. Right, pick the colors around, and your painting is done. Ta-da! Okay, just dab it and so on. So as you can see here, these shapes with a simple shape, and by changing the brush presets or brush tip, yeah, you can immediately create a drawing just like that, right? In order for you to finish this, you can add another one more layer, drag this layer below, so this becomes a single layer right above. And now by going to your gradient, so hold on to this bucket here, and you can see the gradient tool appears. Now all you have to do is drag by holding shift from top to bottom. Bam, now you've got this color. As simple as that. If you were to change this color, all you have to do is Control U or Command U, play with the hue and saturation, see what kind of color that suits you. Some sort of like a sky blue. Reduce the saturation, increase the lightness. Done. That's it. As simple as it can. All right. So this is one way of doing painting in Photoshop, right? You can do wonders with this. Say for instance you want to have scattering, or you want to have this whole thing to be scattered. Go back to your brush. Yeah, B for brush, or go for the tool, just tap on the tool, Now if you want to change the options of the brushes, yeah, all you have to do is go to Windows, right? Look for brush settings, right? Now under the brush settings, you've got scattering. If you tap on the scattering, highlight it, and then make sure you check it. Now you can increase the amount of scatter. So what it says is it is scattering the brushes across, and you can increase the count, right? So you can scatter like that, so you can see a nice silhouette of it. Okay, so in order for you to see the result of this, all you have to do is, let's say for instance I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm going to choose something darker like this, and I'm going to just scatter. Can you see in one stroke? Bam, bam. Just have to pull. You can decrease the size and you create a nice depth. And see, this is called scattering. All right, the bigger the scatter is, or reduce the scatter, the bigger the scatter is, as you can see, it will scatter everywhere, which means it's spreading uh, the brush or the paints across the um, canvas rapidly like this, like world building, right? So yeah, so these are things that you can play with and you can have fun with. Okay, and see, reduce the scattering, change it, bam, one stroke to another, make the size bigger, and you can see the scatter size becomes even more larger and bigger and so on. Okay, you can even create a brand new layer, drag it below. You can make depth by filling up behind the the painting that you have done, right? You can make it slightly smaller, reduce it to 50%, and you can start stacking up the images, right? So this is one method of dealing with your brushes. Say for instance, the question arises, so do I only have this option? No. All right, you can also pick any form of brushes from anywhere. For an example, if I'm going to just open up a brand new tab and I'm just going to hit sky or clouds, cloudy sky, okay, images. Say for instance you like any sort of images from here, right, from a sky, right? All you can do is you just have to tap on this, copy this. Best is you save it, and then I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to hide this layer, create a brand new layer, Control V. Now again the same technique, go to your W, yeah, a selection. You can select any selection here. Best is for this, better to use magic wand, bam, one, or just choose a little bit of it. Say for instance this is what you want. You can decrease the selection or make it more discrete, or make it even more smaller or whatever not. Yeah, choose this, go to edit, define brush preset, name it as clouds, and enter. Now what you do is Control D on the sky, open up a brand new layer, and say you choose something black, and you can have a nice brush. And okay, so that is an example what you can do. Similar to if you want to choose, if you want to do any sort of painting in the future, yeah. If you want to look for a rock, again the same thing, rock, bam. Now choose a rock, get the shape, get the patterns, yeah. Choose this for an example. I'm just going to show you an example. You guys have to do a proper, if you want to do it properly, then you have to do a proper selection here. I'm going to paste the rock here again. Come back to your magic wand, select the rock, or this time depending, this is option. I'm going to go for quick selection. I'm going to select the rock. Up, the rock is done, yeah. Or you can choose any sort of rock here, whatever not, yeah. And then you can go edit, define brush preset, rock, bam. This time I hide the rock, Control D, bam, one, the shape of a rock has been created. Ta-da! Right? Now imagine you have a rock, big rock, or a painting as such. You can see Alt to choose colors from the canvas. Okay, create another layer, bring it below. Some rocks on the back, slightly smaller. You can also rotate your brush tip if you want to, upside down if you want to, yeah. You can make it smaller, rotate it back, you can flip it, yeah. 0, angle is 0. You can flip X, so this time it will choose the other angle, make it slightly smaller, tap once, 2, 3. Now you have your mountain. You can see, yeah. You go back here, choose the pine trees, and you can start adding in pine trees right above. Okay, scatter it this time. Bam, scatter a little bit, not too much. And you can start scattering. Okay, and see now? So you got a nice scenery already. You can choose any sort of color, bam, something slightly more brighter. And now you've got a scenery. You can create a brand new layer where you can overlay right on top, pop up, and you can even off the scattering and tap one by one. Maybe now you can increase the colors or increase the shininess of the color, and couple done. Okay, give it in betweens. You have created a nice scene. See that? Make it bigger. And done. See? Right? So this is the simplest method of working with brushes. Again, brush not only useful for painting. You can also do editing with this. Now you can use any sort of soft brush. Let's say soft round, and you change it to soft light. And this time around, you can choose maybe a golden orangish feel, and you can give a nice stroke as such. Done. A painting is done. See that? As simple as ABC. sunlight is getting through. Ta-da, done. You want to have more clouds or more of a vignette, all you have to do is, yeah, go for a darker color and darken the areas that needs to be darkened. Okay, something like that. Just leave it like this first. Go for multiply, reduce the opacity, and you've got a picture here. Go back to erase if you need to erase it. Yeah, E for erase. Again, brushes is the same. Yeah, look for a soft brush, maybe about 50%. Brighten. Done. And next stage is to add a text. T right here, escape, something, yeah. Say you're happy with it. Place it wherever you want it to be placed, and you are done with a poster. Okay. If you want more, very simple. This is simple concepting. You want to have like a nice pathway, you can use the polygonal lasso. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. Slowly diminish the colors, something like that. Make sure there's a new layer, maybe a little bit of blue, light blue. Shift and backspace. Bam. Color. Done. Ta-da! Okay. Yeah. So this is how they make posters and paintings. Happy dopey? Right? You can do wonders with this, huh? Again, simple shapes, simple forms. If you want more, you can add more, some ledges to the cliffs. Bam. 1 2 3. Okay. Give it a little bit more darker color, or maybe a little ground color, brownish. Over there. Fill in the blank. Bam. Right? Again, depending what kind of colors that you want to add on, I'm going to go for a brush this time around, a little bit more darker. Yeah, because anything that is nearer needs to be darker. So bam, dark, some bright, something darker at the bottom. Control D. Now you can see it has a little bit of a cliff. Okay, one more. Of course, you can have more and more and more, depending how many layers of stuff that you want to add. Okay, so as you can see, simple poster can be added. Right, this is the very least of artwork that we can work with. Yeah, but if you want more extensive stuff, of course it takes a lot of iterations and play with. Okay, everybody understand? Is that too fast? Any questions? No, guys, hello. Yeah. Again, if you want to have more, if let's say you want to have like a mountain, or if you want to have more simple shapes, 1 2 3, yeah, some mountains around here, just follow the shapes, add on. There's a simplest manner of working with. Create another layer, fill in the color, bam, take a brush and start painting. See that? Okay, can you can multiply, create another one more layer here, erase as much as you want, like this. E for erase, you can erase the areas that needs to be erased, and ta-da. Go for a brush, choose this brush, make it darker, something like that. Make an arch. Yeah, you know wonders it is, right? So for this week, I want you guys to work with a poster. Yeah, a simple find any sort of a shape. Yeah, you can even choose a house. You can choose cities. You can be as creative as you can. Yeah, it's called silhouettes. Yeah, again, if you want to look for not rock, not this guy. Yeah, any kind of rock, perhaps any kind of tree silhouettes. You can choose any kind of trees. Yeah, you want to get this kind of depth, right? So how you want to get it is by changing the shape or the tip of the brush and then defining it. Yeah, define brush preset. All right, and then playing with the brush settings. Yeah, whether you want to scatter it or whether you want to have it not non-scattered. Even if you see, if this tiny little ball here, let's say a heart round here, I want to make it a little bit more scattered, so I can hit scatter. Bam, I can decrease these decrease the scattering counts, go to the tip, decrease the size of it. In a way, I create kind of like a say, how would I put it, kind of like a fireflies, yeah, or pixies. All you have to do is now just do it there. Make it slightly bigger and tap once. See that? 0. Now you won't see much. You have to scatter, means you have to scatter like that. 1, 2, 3. Or you can even look for something really small. And it's best if you can get this brush tip a little bit more smaller and make it into effect, like so. See that? Okay, so this is completely up to you guys, right? How do you want to mix it? I'm not looking for super um you know super duper best concept art here. I just want to have you guys to have fun with this, understand the functionalities. Yeah, as you can see, it changes the look and feel of your image a little bit. Okay, you can even have it with a shape dynamic if you want to. Yeah, so then see what you can come out with. I'll leave it to you guys. Okay, can so that's on the art side of playing with the brushes and compositing, right? Yeah, yeah, so just go wild, just kind of like create something that is fun with. Yeah, do a simple painting, give it a title. All right, if you were to place this title, you hit Ctrl R or Command R, you will see this ruler that will come out. All you have to do is make sure that you are on move tool, or even if you're on a brush, it doesn't matter. You go to your ruler and drag this over, right? Place once, twice, just to see where best the text can go and sit, right? I'll talk about the other components like decompositing and so later on. But this week you have fun by creating a nice concept art. If you don't want to see this guide here, all you have to do is go to view, guides, clear guides, and done. Okay, right? Any questions from the floor? Anything that you want me to repeat? Can guys?
Mr. Kannan, I have a question.
Yes.
Not today's one, but last week and last week's recording, right? I can't find it.
Oh, it's in the class. I've already posted in the classroom.
The recording
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't it there?
No, I can't find it.
Oh, okay. Last week, yeah, that one we didn't. I didn't upload the recording. That is because I think there was just an explanation of what we were doing with the tools. Yeah, but if you want it, I will post it and then I will paste it in our classroom. No problem. All right, I'll update it today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Any questions? All can do wonders with this, huh? Yeah, I'll show you what it can do. This are all done. I'll just show you one. I can't show much, but I can show a couple of it. Yeah, this is completely done in Photoshop. Okay, don't see this super cool yet? Bam, this is fully done in Photoshop. Okay, so this was a commission job that I did for Valorant, but I'm not supposed to show this anyways. But yeah, that's what you can do if you are working, if you know how to use deep brushes and so, right? So I'm going to stop the recording right now.